Nights in the desert are assumed to be silent. But if you listen carefully, you can hear something speaking beneath the sand. Thousands of years ago, someone stood here and imagined a structure that would challenge the sky. There was no iron, no machines, no speed, only hands, patience, and words whispered to the stones. This colossal structure that still stands today does not tell us how it was built, but if you listen, it whispers how it felt. This is not the story of how the pyramids were built, but why the stones rose.
The night the stones whispered, the desert spoke at night. As the wind passed through the sand, it repeated an ancient secret. The sun had not yet risen. The sky was deep blue. The stars reflected on the waters of the Nile. The young stone worker, Horam, stood in the shadow of the pyramid. He looked up. The unfinished structure rose like a silent giant reaching for the sky. When it is finished, he thought, we will be forgotten, but these stones will remain. A journey that began with a dream. They said everything began with the pharaoh's dream. In his dream, a light descended from the heavens. The light whispered to him, if your soul wishes to rise to the stars, you must stand firm on the earth. That was the day. The first stone was taken from the ground. The stones were alive. Horam believed this deeply, that the stones were alive. If you treated them harshly, they cracked. If you were patient, they took shape. Days passed in the quarries. Copper tools, stone hammers, hands hardened with work. Yet no one complained, because every stone carried a story. The silent path over the sand, when the stones were placed on wooden sleds. Hundreds of people took the ropes together. The sand was wet. Under the moonlight, it shimmered and allowed the stone to glide. No one shouted. Only breathing could be heard. As the stone moved forward, it felt as if the desert itself was making way. The rising mountain. As the stones reached the pyramid, their movement slowed. Each time, Horam touched the edge of the stone, as if saying, find your place. When the stone settled, a quiet sense of satisfaction spread. It was as if the pyramid had accepted one more stone. Hidden paths. Everyone saw the outside of the pyramid, but Horam knew its inside. Narrow passages, hidden routes, dark internal ramps where stones traveled upward. When the pyramid was complete, these paths would be sealed, known to no one. Secrets were buried inside stone. An agreement with the sky. On nights when they did not work, the masters watched the stars. Horam had heard it from an old builder. If this structure does not look to the sky, it cannot stand. And so the pyramid was aligned with the heavens. It looked different at sunrise and different at sunset. The moment time slowed. Years passed. Horam grew old, but the pyramid kept rising. One day, the final stone was placed. No one applauded. No one shouted. Everyone was silent, because in that moment, they realized something. This structure would live longer than they would. The final whisper. Horam sat at the base of the pyramid. He placed his hand on the stone. It was warm. He closed his eyes, and in the sound of the wind, he heard these words. Those who built me are gone, but I will continue to tell their story. And from that day on, the pyramid never stopped whispering.